our journey in this. And it was kind of sudden for us. We just moved down from Idaho, a family of 3, me, my beautiful wife Jessica, and our daughter Kailyn. And we were in the process of building a house. And Kailyn's journey with cancer actually started before her diagnosis. While we were building our house, we were renting an apartment, adjusting to apartment life again after living in a home in Idaho for several years. And we'd find stuff to do to entertain ourselves. And Kailyn and I one day were watching YouTube, and we came across a video called Truly Brave, which is a medley of Sarah Bareilles and Cyndi Lauper's songs, True Colors of Brave. And we watched it, and on this video, it was for the Philadelphia Hospital Childhood Cancer Center. There were these beautiful bald-headed kids running around playing and painting and just making a mess, and Kailyn loved it. So Dad, let's watch it again. We watched it again. Said, let's watch it again, and we watched it again. And then afterwards, she looked me right in the eyes, and she said, Dad, if I ever get cancer, I'm going to be brave. I looked at her and I smiled. I said, I know you would, Kailyn, but don't worry, you're never going to get cancer. I made a promise that I couldn't keep. We never think it's going to be our children. And on July 24th, it became my daughter. Fast forward a few months, and I'm driving home from work, and I'm really excited. I worked late because I have the next day off. We're about to do our 1-week walkthrough before we close on our house. And on the way home, the builder calls and delays our walkthrough. And so I get home and I tell Jessica, and she says, well, you know, have you seen this bump on Kailyn's leg? After telling her that, and I'm like, no, what bump? And she shows me. And there's this bump sticking out up to my knuckle on her leg. And I'm thinking, how did I miss this? How did we miss this? How long has she had this? And I kind of freak out. At that point, it's too late at night to do anything. So the next day, instead of going through the walkthrough of our home, we go to our pediatrician. We then head in for an ultrasound because they don't know what it is. This is a Friday afternoon at this point. At 4:50, we received the call from the pediatrician. And they say, we received the results of the ultrasound. At this point, we don't know what it is. We need to do an MRI to get further diagnosis. But we're not ruling out cancer. So here it is, a Friday afternoon. We have to wait the weekend. Monday comes around, we get an appointment scheduled. And that's for Thursday. So here we are waiting the week, trying to make normal really matter for a while. We're trying to forget about what's going on, but we can't. We're wondering what's happening inside our little girl's body. What is that? So Thursday comes around and we do the MRI. And then on Friday we get the call, as we're on our way to do our final walkthrough on our home, that our daughter has cancer. During this time, I kind of not followed the doctor's advice. I've been consulting my best friend Google, trying to figure out what my daughter had. And I really thought it was a Ewings Sarcoma, like Ruby was diagnosed with. And I asked the doctor that, and he said, we don't know. It's either that or Ewings Sarcoma, which is what Sarah had. And I didn't know much about Ewings. So the only way we could find out was a biopsy, which was then scheduled for Tuesday. So on Monday, we closed on our home. On Tuesday, we go in for a biopsy. On Wednesday, we go in for more scans. So many scans I can't even count at this point. And before the scans, the doctor brings in a bunch of paperwork. And it's a treatment plan for Ewings sarcoma. He tells us they're 99% certain that it's Ewings, that they need to wait for the official results to know, but they're so confident they're willing to start treatment the next day, unless we want to participate in a clinical trial, at which point we'll have to wait for a week. So we consult some doctors, and at this point we know that the sarcoma hasn't metastasized throughout her body, and at their advice we can't wait. A week with Ewing sarcoma could be the difference between life and death. So the doctor proceeds to tell us about the treatment plan. 17 cycles of chemotherapy. He starts talking about the drugs, about vincristine, cyclophosphamide, etoposide, ifosfamide, mesna, and then he gets to one called doxorubicin. The nickname for this is the Red Devil. And he stops. He gets very serious at this point. Not that he wasn't serious before. He wanted to make sure we really understood what was going on. And explains the side effects of doxorubicin, that Kailyn can only have a certain amount in her lifetime of this drug. That it would destroy her heart if it wasn't protected, that she had to be on these medicines during the process. At that point I thought, what am I doing to my daughter? What are we giving my daughter? mean, my role as a father is to protect her, to keep her safe. Now, give me something to her that could potentially kill her, but what choice do I have? I can't just let it sit, because we know the outcome for that. We know the outcome if we don't treat cancer. So we have to move on. We have to move forward with treatment. So we do the scans that day, and then the next day we put the port in. And then we start chemotherapy that day. Now you want to talk about another reality check. In comes the nurses, and they're not dressed in scrubs. They're dressed in hazmat gear. They're covered head to toe in the protective garb to keep them safe from the very drugs that we're administering to our children. Now, during this time period, I looked at some of these medicines that we were giving and found out that doxorubicin was actually developed in 1950. It was put into clinical trials in 1960. And here we are in 2015 at the time, administering it to my 7-year-old daughter. Then I found out the same medicines she's on for Ewings sarcoma are the exact same treatments that I would have been treated with had I been diagnosed when I was 7 years old. It hadn't changed. So we went through with the treatment. Now, outside of this, I still have a work life that I have to do. Now, our company, there have been rumors about a reorganization. The next day, I had a meeting with my vice president that I had to go as my daughter was on her second day of chemo. That day, I was told that our operations department was reorganized, and as of October 1st, my position would be eliminated. Now, I work for a really good company, and I say work because I still work for them, which is a good thing. But at that time, I closed on a house on Monday. My daughter's fighting for her life against cancer, and I'm wondering about her livelihood. I'm wondering about a job. I'm wondering about benefits. And so I asked my vice president at the time, who's my boss, what jobs I should apply for. So we're reorganizing. Hopefully he'll give me some suggestions, and he did. And the next week, I got one of those jobs. And the day before my daughter started her second cycle, I had to go ahead and let my team go of their positions and let them know they'd be eliminated in October. And then go back to the hospital. And it was a crazy time in our lives. Almost every single thing that you could imagine was going on. But then I found another thing that happened during cancer. And it's that your family starts to grow. It's not that you're having more children, but you're meeting more families going through this with you. And I remember it was our first Saturday in the hospital. And I go walking into the family room, and there's Tammy and Randy Arrowwood in there with the best brisket I've ever had in my life. And I don't know if it's the fact that I was starving or not, but actually I know it wasn't, because I've talked to so many of the people that have had it. It's amazing. And their daughter had fought cancer and beat it. And then I met another amazing family in the room. Michael Gosling was there. His son Grant was battling neuroblastoma at the time. Met his amazing wife June. You start to experience these things with them. You see what these children go through, the battles they have, and the giants they face. And they go about it bravely, courageously. Remember, with the faith of a child, my daughter looked at me one day and said, "Dad, am I going to die?" To answer that question. And I was thinking in my head, thinking back to that video of Sarah Reyes and wondering, is this a promise I can keep? But I looked at her and said, "No, Kailyn, you're going to beat this." And she did. She fought it. So I want to introduce you to my hero, to my daughter Kailyn. Kailyn, can you go up there? We're about to go into a very important part of the evening, the Sponsor a Child program. But before then, the sister of Rally Angel Alexa, Jenna, is going to perform a special number of Brave for us. But I want you to think about all these children and the songs and the pictures that you see. And at the time of Sponsor a Child, open up your checkbooks. I know you all have a big heart because you're already here. And please do what you can for these children. Help us to find a cure. Because even though Kailyn is right now free of the disease that we know of, there still isn't a cure that we know of, and there's better treatment options that we need. So thank you all very much.